Ciao a tutti, sono Marco di VolumeBK e oggi sono molto contento. I'm speaking Italian just for the presentation and then we speak in English.
Okay.
Sono molto contento di avere qua con me, qui a Radio Raheem, Liz Pelly. Da adesso parlerò in inglese perché sennò poi Liz ovviamente non capisce. Quindi, hello Liz.
Hello.
It's a real pleasure to have you here. And we're gonna select some, anzi, she's gonna select some music for us today. And between the tracks, maybe we will have some chat about her book. She's the writer of this incredible book called Mood Machine that was just translated in Italian and edited by Editore. The book will be presented tonight at VolumeBK at 7 p.m. together with Beatrice Finauro and Generic Animal, an independent musician. So today here in the radio we're gonna do something a little bit different from the chat of tonight, the presentation of tonight, which is focused on the book, but now we're focused more on the music. As we are on in an independent radio, so we're gonna listen to music together. And what's the first track you've just played?
Well, thank you so much for having me. And also, I'm sorry that I'm speaking in English, but I'm very happy to be here. The first track that I played was called Another Twilight by Hannah Lou, who is from California, and she was a member of the band Grass Widow,
Okay.
who were one of my favorite bands in the 2000s.
Oh, sorry. Just 1 second.
Okay.
I didn't unmute the microphone, so you have to start again. Sorry.
Okay, no problem at all. Hello, thank you for having me. Very happy to be here. The first track was Another Twilight by Hannah Lou, who is from California, and she was 1/3 of the band Grass Widow, who were one of my favorite bands of the early 2000s. So I'm really excited that she has a new record that just came out, actually,
Okay,
brand
okay.
new. Yeah.
Are you gonna play just like really recent tracks or also?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, everything
Nice,
I'm
nice.
playing is pretty new. Mhm.
Okay, nice. So it's a privilege for us to have a music curation by Liz Pelly. Also because the book is a lot talks a lot about this theme of music curation. I mean, how it works and the difference between a playlist on Spotify and a playlist curated by someone, by a human being, or and also the role of independent radios in this. So maybe we're gonna talk later about this. But
Yeah.
now we're gonna listen to another track.
Mhm.
You want to introduce it?
Yes, and I'll say it's also a huge privilege to be here as well. And yeah, like you mentioned, a lot of the book deals with the ways that music streaming companies and tech platforms and the sort of like capitalist extractive forces in music impact the way that people relate to music today. And it's really obvious to me that community radio stations have been emerging as an important counterbalance to that and really embraced by independent music communities in recent years, I think, because they represent something that is so different than what is playing out across music culture. The next track is by a band from Texas called Touch Girl Apple Blossom, beat happening reference, and they have a record called Graceville that just came out a few days ago, and I got to see them play a couple of weeks ago, and they were really good. So I love this record, and this song I have been listening to all spring. It's called "The Springtime Reminds Me of..."
Nice.
Shining
Okay, so we are still here with Liz Pelly, writer of Mood Machine, and I have a question for you
Yes.
because I have so many. I was just telling Liz that I just finished her book, and I have so many questions about how things work because I'm 46 years old now, so grew up musically in the 90s. I started buying records, CDs in early 90s, pre-internet time. So internet here in Italy arrived and was wide. I mean, accessible to everyone at the end of the 90s and early 2000, I would say. So for like 7 or 8 years in my life, my only way to discover music and to listen to music was just to go in the record shops, go to concerts, buy records and everything. And then something happened in the early 2000s with the peer-to-peer and pirate streaming, pirate downloading and everything. And I was like completely blew away from that because I was a real pirate downloader. I still have, I think, like a really big hard disk full of music that I've never listened to because I was just like downloading everything. So, but something happened, I think, and I want to ask you in my mind also because I got used in a while to access everything very easily, and this changed really everything. I think because we are used to it. We think of a way to listen to music that is not connected to this full access to all the music of the world. I mean, shall we go forward and try to approach the music with another perspective of not accessing everything and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of value to it. You know, I've had conversations about this with friends and other writers and critics who have made the decision to not use music streaming and to go back to listening to music through an MP3 library, which is one of the ways that I listen to music. And I do think that there is a different type of relationship that you have with music when you just like don't have everything accessible at the click of a button 24/7, to have to like sit with your choices. You know, like I chose to buy this record or download this music or, you know, get this vinyl or download these MP3s from Bandcamp or something like that. And once you pay for something, you're way more likely to actually listen to it,
Of
you
course.
know? So I do think that it kind of changes the relationship. But I do always also say, though, like, I really don't think ultimately that, you know, universal access to all the music in the world though is like at the heart of the problem that I'm writing about in the
Okay.
book. Like I really don't think so. I think it is the way that industry choices and power and economics sort of like inform that relationship or that technological availability, and the way in which you know, the people running these streaming companies like decided to make it the path of least resistance to think about music as little as possible. You know, like these are platforms that are engineered for frictionless experiences and to make the process of clicking play and then not hitting stop as like easy as possible. So like they're trying to grab your attention with something that they know you're already like, so you hit play and then you're basically recommended music that you're statistically likely to not hit skip on, and that is like what
Yes,
streaming
yes, yes. This is the
recommendation
point.
is,
This
you
is the
know?
point. I was
Um,
just because my perspective is a little bit different
yeah.
because I've never changed my way of discovering music. So I've used pirate downloading and streaming platforms to listen to music, but never to discover music. I still have the same channels and the same way to discover music. So webzines, magazines, and going to concerts and talking to people and sharing playlists and stuff like that. But for me, for example, is more like this full access to everything is a little bit as too. I mean, it's very easy for some, in a way, too easy maybe. But also it let me access to everything really. I use a Bandcamp a lot also.
Yeah, me too.
But it's so difficult to, and not for me because I'm thinking of. I don't use streaming platforms a lot at the moment, but it's very difficult for me to think of going back.
Yeah.
It's even though I have a record shop, so I know how it works, and I want to. I mean, I select music and I sell records, but records are so expensive now, so it's very difficult also on that side. So it's very.
Yeah. Well, something that I suggest sometimes is if you sort of like have this impulse that like maybe you're not sure if universal access to all of the music in the world is having some sort of impact on your relationship with music that you are not sure if you like or not, just try something different and see. Just try a season of life where you are listening to MP3s and see if you feel like it makes you relate to listen to music in a different way. And, I've found talking to friends that, something that comes up is how like leaving streaming sort of returns some of like the sense of like ritual and like purpose and intention to thinking about like what you're putting on. But, you could try it and find that it's actually just like that doesn't feel the same to you, so then go back to streaming. It's like you're encouraging people to like experiment and try new things and not just accept like a paradigm of listening because it is the thing that is like mainstream.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So shall we play another track now?
Sure. Yes, let's play another track. The next song that I'm going to play is by a band from Brooklyn called Pink Must. And one of the members of this band is the musician Maurice, and the other one is a musician whose project is called Ice Blink. And I really like this record. It also came out earlier this year. It's actually released on a Copenhagen label called 15 Love, but the band is based in New York. So I'll play that. The song is called Disappointed.
same way that I used to. An irreversible new change. That I don't want this the same way that I used to. An irreversible new change. I don't think that I have anything that I can say. Feeling so rocked up tonight, craving the sound of broken glass, the sickness in your eyes. I want it, I'm not surprised. I want it, I'm not surprised. It's all I can do to keep myself from coming under. All I can say is do it to me. All I can keep is do. I'm coming inward. All I can do is say do it to you. Western hegemony compels me and everybody I know to always want more. I'll never say it out loud. I'll never say it out loud. I'm ready for an encore. I'm ready for an encore. I'm ready for an encore. I'm ready for an encore.
I was just saying to Leeds that, but is it finished? Yes.
Yes.
The track. Okay. I was just saying to Leeds that at VolumeBK we organized a talk 6 months ago about music and the way that streaming platforms have changed our way to listen to music, to discover music, and how changed also the way musicians create music and our relationship with creation and listening to music. So it's like a second chapter of of that talk, and it's very important for us and very nice to have the protagonist of the because that talk was starting from the book, so
Yeah.
from Mood Machine. So we read the book in English first, and then not all of it because it was difficult, but
Well,
we've
thank
tried.
you so much for hosting that. How did it go?
It was very interesting. Very interesting. It was more on the We it was about the book, but it was more on politics.
Mm-hmm.
So um, how independent, how to be still independent, but to reach people without using streaming platforms. I mean, is it still possible to do that, or
Mm-hmm.
you need to uh, compromise and uh, stay on music? Because we we saw last summer a lot of bands going out from Spotify for when they discovered that Daniel Ek invested a lot of money in weapons based on artificial intelligence and stuff like that. But is that the point? I mean, they moved away from Spotify for this, but it's not. This is one of the reasons, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not the real, maybe the real reasons why the real reason why a band should move away from that kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely always say, like, full solidarity with anyone who is removing their music from
Of
a streaming
course.
platform over the co-founders' investment in military AI weapons companies. Um, but in addition to that, I also feel like there's some for whom, a boycott of Spotify has become like the end of the engagement with the issue. And I would hope that through reading this book that maybe people would see a critique of Spotify as an entryway into the beginning of a broader critique of the music industry in general. Because I do think that looking at the way that Spotify has impacted music for listeners and artists is a I I mean, obviously, I wrote a book about it, so I think it is a good entry point into like starting to make that broader critique, or maybe understand or flesh out or a foundation for that broader critique. But yeah, it's clear that the story of how streaming has impacted music, or the story of the way the music industry has exploited artists does not like begin or end with one company. It's like a very long history, and even today there's like a lot more context needed to really get
Hmm.
into it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mm, I also think that for an independent musician, um, to be on Spotify or other streaming platforms is a way of, but I don't know how to say it. It's very difficult, but it's they think that being there means that they can be discovered more easily
Mm.
than in other ways. But I think it's not true. This is not really true, because it's some kind of um, fake way of thinking. I mean,
Yeah.
because you are there, but you if you are there or you're not there is not doesn't make the difference if you don't have really big numbers.
Yeah.
So sometimes maybe to find other paths could be more um, could be
Ye-
better for an independent musician.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, it's, I think there's something to be said for the fact that it's never truly never been easier for anyone to make music and to make it available digitally through streaming services, but that doesn't mean that it's never been easier to like connect with an audience. It's actually, I think, quite hard to figure out ways to meaningfully connect with either your like pre-existing listeners or to reach new ones through these tools, because by using them we hand so much control to corporations to influence the relationship between the artist and the listener. Um, uh, I think there's also something that I write about in the book, and that I thought was an old story, but it is becoming new again, is, this myth that tech platforms have used for so long that they've like democratized music or whatever. And this is, I think, a really, uh, this was a really important part of the strategy of platforms like Spotify, but also just social media platforms in the Web 2 era in general, because it's part of what they used to sort of insulate themselves from critique, to, protect themselves from regulation. Oh, but we've democratized music. It's never been easier to access the music market. Obviously that's not true. And
It's
I
not that
think-
obvious. I think. I mean, it's obvious.
Yeah.
For me, it's obvious, but it's not that obvious. I mean, the book says it very clearly, but I think for a lot of people, it's not this obvious. I mean, they still think that being there is a way to. I mean, there is a real meritocracy. But it's not like this. There's someone that is
Yeah, I think like the reality is like, and one of the things about not even just streaming, but the whole platform era that has been so tricky is that there is this really strong sense that it feels democratic, and it feels like you're participating, but it's actually like total enclosure. It's an enclosed environment that is controlled and managed and commodified by these companies that are not just nudging and shaping certain behaviors, but then extracting data in order to capitalize on your excitement to participate in this thing that feels like an opportunity.
All
Yeah.
these things are well explained in the book, and this is why I think that every music lover should read it, because it's illuminating for a lot of things that are not really obvious for the majority of people. I think so.
Thank you.
Next track.
Oh yeah. Well, so the one that I just played, I'll just say is
Yes, right.
called Unglued, and it is by Katie Alice Greer, who was the singer of the band Priests, who were one of my favorite bands of the 2010s, and it's from a record that she just put out called Perfect Woman Sound Machine Volume 1. I highly recommend that record. And the next track that I'm going to play is by some dear friends of mine in a band called Eraser, who are from Philadelphia. And it's from a record that they put out last year called Hideout. They are not going to be playing Italy anytime soon, but they're actually coming to Europe in a few weeks to play shows in France and Belgium. So
Okay.
if anyone knows anyone in those places, they will be there soon. song.
Okay. So what did we listen to?
That song was called On Our Own Time by Winston Hightower, who is a musician from Ohio. But that record is called 100 Acre Wood, and it just came out a few weeks ago on K Records. And yeah, I really liked Winston Hightower's last record, and I really like this one. And it's cool to hear something new on K, too.
Nice.
And yeah, before that was Eraser, and those two bands were just on tour together, so that's why I put them back to back.
Together.
Yeah.
Okay. I was saying to Leeds while the track was playing that it's nice because until now I mean all these tracks are completely unknown for me. So it's nice to discover new music. And I want to ask you how you um, get into new music. I mean, how you discover new music? What's your way to
Yeah.
approach new stuff and to discover new stuff?
Well, the most important thing is asking people for recommendations and talking to people. So, like right now I'm sitting here thinking like this is great, but I really should be getting recommendations for Italian music from you.
Okay.
So maybe when this
We'll do it.
conversation is over, I
Yes.
can get some recommendations for
Of
some
course.
bands from Milan. But yeah, a lot of it is like paying attention when my friends say that they're excited about a record, or when my friends are playing a show and who they're playing with, or seeing who's playing in town, going to shows, seeing what venues in New York are playing. Also, following record labels whose catalogs I like, and keeping up with what they're putting out, reading the music press, keeping up with music journalism. Oh my God, sorry, there's a bird flying around this restaurant right now. That's distracting. And then, actually, a bunch of the artists on this playlist that I'm playing are artists who I saw play at like this DIY music festival in Providence a few weeks ago. So
Oh,
also going to see live music and
Mhm.
festivals, and it's basically just through that, I guess.
And do you often go to shows of bands you don't know? I mean, just for the curiosity to go there, because this is something that really changed in the last like 15 years, I would say, here in Italy.
Yeah.
People go to concerts of bands they already know. When I was like 20 or 25 and going to concerts was like a daily thing on a daily basis. I used to go to different gigs. I attended to shows of a lot of bands I discovered there.
Yeah.
And
I feel like normally for me, like there has to be some sort of social context for it, right?
Okay.
Like, oh yeah, I've heard this band's name a couple times. I don't really know what they're about, but like everyone keeps recommending them, and my friends are going, so I'll go. Or, someone has told me that they think this show is going to be good, so I'll go. But yeah, I think part of it is there used to be, so I used to help run this community art space in Brooklyn for like 5 years, and it was the kind of place where you could just go any night.
Exactly.
And
that's the point.
you know you would probably know someone who was there. You might know someone who was working. You trust that like anything that is going to be playing there is like probably somewhat interesting.
That's the best thing, I
Yeah.
think.
So I feel like it's really like spaces are really important
Yes.
for that sort of thing. And as all of major cities become, more and more expensive, and it's harder to have those types of like experimental spaces, it can be harder. But I do think that like, for me, it doesn't need to be like I've listened to this record and I'm 100% familiar with it. Like when I was in Turin on Sunday, someone I met earlier in the day was like, oh, Maria Somerville's playing tonight. Like, and I was like, oh, I'll go to that. So, I'd
Yes.
heard of her before, but I had never listened to her music before, and it was great. And I'm really glad I went. And, trying to just follow curiosities and, trust people's recommendations are also really important, I think.
great. I totally agree.
And yeah, actually the track that I'm going to play next is a band that I had never heard until this festival that I went to a couple of weeks ago, and I saw
Okay.
them play. They're called Good Flying Birds, and I'd like heard their name around, but I'd never listened to them before, and I thought they were really good tambourine playing.
Let's listen to them then.
Yeah. Okay.
Just follow, show me how to get your feeling for you. Come and say it now.
We are almost at the end of this chat and this music selection. Thank you very much, Liz, for being here at Radio Raheem.
Thank you so much for having me.
I hope you enjoyed staying
Yes.
here. So now we are gonna play the last track. How about, what was this one? The last you played?
That was a band called Anna Altman from Brooklyn, and the song was called Figure Eight, and it's from a record that they just put out called Anatomic, and they're one of my current favorite bands in New York City, so
Cool.
I really recommend that record. And the last track that I'm going to play is from Wendy Eisenberg's record that came out this year, which is one of my absolute favorite albums of the year so far, and the song is called Old Myth Dying.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're
Thank
gonna
you.
listen to the last track, and we'll see you tonight. We'll meet tonight at VolumeBK at 7 p.m. for the presentation of Mood Machine, together with Beatrice Finauro and Generic Animal. So thank you, Liz. Ciao, and see you tonight.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Watching the hands move, I'm hearing what I want to hear. Something to control, to feel the way I make it feel. Cosmic similarities are great, but not a cure. Something to observe, to hang up on the ringing word. What could be relaxing about an old myth dying? Everything that I was told, everything older than me, was everybody lying? Falling back to earth, I'm everywhere and anywhere. Someone isn't here, they vanished into cooling air. Cosmic similarities are real, but not the point. There's something you observe that